Hey, what's up, guys? It's X Morgan with My Spiritual Life, and today I have a special guest, my little brother, Parker. Thank you for being here.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, man. Was that like were you trying to talk like Coley McCulkin?
No, I just felt awkward and didn't know what to say.
Okay, okay,
But
because
I'll
you,
take it.
no, okay, I was like, I wasn't sure if that's what you're trying to do on purpose, but you look just like him when you were a kid. I stand by that. Anyway, uh, today, we are going to be talking about social media and the toxic desire for fame. We have a few different things we're going to cover today. First, we're going to talk about this article that I'm going to pull up here in just a second. That's about kind of the root cause of why so many people have this desire and need for fame. Then we're going to talk about some insane things people have done in order to try to get fame, including dying trying to get famous. Oh my God. I couldn't believe that article we found. Anyway, we'll get into that. I'm also going to give a little bit of an overview of Twangy's I can't remember her first name, but her book iGen, and a little bit about what she talks about with how to handle social media appropriately. And then we're going to have some tips about how you can make sure that you're not on the toxic end of so your social media use. Okay, so I want to start with this article. Let's see if I can figure out how to do it. Okay, Parker, will you let me know if there's an
I see it.
issue? Okay, perfect. Okay, so this article, super awesome, is called On the Desire for Fame. It's from, oh, what's the link? theschooloflife.com is where I found this article. Here we go. So I'm just going to read some parts here that I have highlighted. We don't always feel comfortable admitting it to our friends. It is embarrassing, but secretly the idea of being famous has great appeal. Fame is deeply attractive because it seems to offer very significant benefits. The fantasies go like this: when you're famous, wherever you go, your good reputation will precede you. People will think well of you because of your merits have where would we go here? People will think well of you because your merits have been impressively explained in advance. You will get warm smiles from admiring strangers. You won't need to make your own case laboriously on each occasion. When you're famous, you'll be safe from rejection. You won't have to win over every new person. Fame will mean other people will be flattered and delighted, even if you are only slightly interested in them. They will be amazed to see you in the flesh. They'll ask to take a photo with you. They'll sometimes nervously laugh with excitement. So, just a couple thoughts about this. I want to get deeper into this article, but the reason why I love this article is because it really talks about how enticing fame is, why it's so enticing, and what the root cause of that enticement really comes from. So, first off, I love the way the article sets it up that you it's the potentiality for online fame right now is easier than it's ever been because of social media. It's easier to go viral than it's ever been. It's easier to be a household name than it's ever been. The kind of status and following that used to only be for movie stars that is just kind of available to anyone that can figure out how to go viral, and it's not all that difficult as you'll see in some of these videos we're going to show today. So the article kind of sets that up. Parker, did you want to say anything before I keep going?
No, just well, yeah, I guess I could add something. Is just uh not only is it like easier to get famous, but like it doesn't always last either. Like it's like these quick adrenaline hits. Like, oh my gosh, I was so famous. I made a comment on I made a comment on Instagram. It was just like a stupid comment and it got 1,000 likes because people liked it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool that 1,000 people went into this video, looked at my comment that I made, and they liked it. And I was like, wow, I should comment more often. And then I was like, no, no, I really shouldn't. It's just this high. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm important. People will like recognize my comments. No, that's stupid. But people love, getting famous, and the famousness just doesn't last like it used to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It is so enticing. And I've had a YouTube channel for 4.5 years now, so I get it. That dopamine high when you get all those views or you get all those likes, it's a very serious thing. Like it is such an adrenaline rush. It is so exciting. And but there's a catch 22, of course, you know. And like you said, oftentimes it doesn't last. So let's jump back into the article here. Let's see. Okay. Furthermore, no one will be able to afford to upset you. When you're not pleased with something, it will become a big problem for others. If you say your hotel room isn't up to scratch, the management will panic. Your compliments will be taken very seriously. Your happiness will become the focus of everyone's efforts. You will make or break people's reputations. You will be the boss. Thoughts about that part, Parker?
I do love the idea of being the boss. I don't know. It's just I like yes. I everyone. I almost want to say like 100% of people. There are some people that maybe don't love the idea, but the majority of people would agree that man, does it sound nice to have everyone swoon over you and love you and care about the things that you're doing, and like you don't have to do much just from the fact that you're known, that you're well known. um I don't know, it makes you feel special.
Yes, that's so I wanted to bring that up because what this article is highlighting in this first section, these first couple sections, is people have a desire and a need. I won't even call it a desire. People have a need for attention, for validation, for love, for importance, and for control, right? And that's not all of their needs, but these are ones that are being highlighted in this article because if you have all these adoring fans, people love you. You need love, right? If you have the ability to walk into a hotel and for them to take you very seriously, you're going to feel really important. Which there's a need, an innate need that each of us have to feel important, to feel validated, to feel loved. And additionally, you're gonna feel like you are in control, and that's a big thing because when you think about people who have experiences with traumatic backgrounds, they are desperate to maintain control in their life because if they don't have control, they don't feel safe, right? And so if you can walk into a hotel and say like, "Oh, this is not up to my standards," and they will fall over trying to make you happy, that's going to make you feel really in control and it's going to give you the illusion of feeling very safe, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so back to okay, so this is where it starts getting into kind of where does this all stem from? The desire for fame has its roots in the experience of neglect, in injury. No one would want to be famous who hasn't also somewhere in the past been made to feel extremely insignificant. Now, I don't know if I agree with everyone, but I certainly agree that it seems like a vast majority. We sense the need for a great deal of admiring attention when we have been painfully exposed to earlier deprivation. Perhaps one's parents were hard to impress. That really hit home for me. The parents being hard to impress. They never noticed one much, or they were too busy with other things, focusing on other famous people, unable to have or express feelings or just working too hard. There was no bedtime stories, and one's school reports weren't the subject of praise and admiration. That's why one dreams that one day the world will pay attention to that person. When we're famous, our parents will have to admire us too, which throws an insight into one of the great signs of good parenting that your child doesn't have the desire to become famous. Now, again, I don't know how true that is, but it sounds like certainly something we're thinking about. Okay, this next paragraph, it also says that maybe your parents were great, but maybe the world kind of slapped you, and that also could cause you to want to desire that fame. So, this part of the article just struck me so hard in reading this because I could see this reflected in my own life. When I was a kid, I remember I loved the Spy Kids movies. Do you remember those movies, Parker? I
Yeah.
was obsessed with them. And I remember wishing I could have been one of the actors that played one of the Spy Kids in the movie. And I remember when they announced Spy Kids 3, and I kept having dreams that somehow I was going to get scouted for the Spy Kids 3 movie. And I am so glad that I didn't, because if you look and you see, like, just the other day, for example, I was like, I haven't seen Amanda Bynes in a movie in like a billion years. I was watching Hairspray, that musical came out in like 2000 something. I loved that movie, and I was
Mhm.
watching that. Amanda Bynes is in it, and I was like, where's she been? I pull it up, and there was an article. I didn't have it ready for today, but this just reminded me of it. There was an article, something about her getting arrested because she was roaming around naked. Now I didn't look into it. I just kind of like closed out of
She
it
was
and
in the
was like,
psychiatric hospital. Yeah, I was just looking
I'm
it
a
up.
pretty wait, yeah, yeah. Did you want to share it, or will your screen let you share it? Anyway,
uh, yeah, I can share this if you
I
want to
just
pull it up.
kind of
I just
decided.
typed in Amanda Bynes as the first thing that popped up.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
you
I
can do
have
it.
to do it now. Okay, here
Yeah.
we go.
So this is the first thing that I saw was this right
Okay,
here.
I'm laughing, but this is sad. Okay, this is sad. Oh
Wow.
God, yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's yeah, that's all I'll do of that. But the idea here is that as a kid, I struggled with my relationship with my parents, and as a result, I wanted to be, a movie star, and that sounded appealing to me, that idea of like being so important. And as I created my YouTube channel, that was, 4.5 years ago, I definitely think that there was a part of me that was being driven for that same reason of I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to be understood, I want to be loved, I want to be validated. And luckily, since then, I've been through a lot of therapy, and I've read a lot of books, and I've healed a lot, and now I kind of understand, oh, if you want to pursue being famous, it needs to be from a place of passion and desire and not from a need, right? And we'll get more into that. But let me jump back to the article here. Okay. What is common to all dreams of fame is that being known to strangers emerges a solution to a hurt. It emerges a solution to a hurt. That's such, I love the way that's worded. It presents itself as an answer to the deep need to be appreciated and treated decently by other people. And yet fame cannot accomplish what is asked of it. I'm going to go to this next section. One wants to be famous out of a desire for kindness, and I added in here love, attention, validation, importance, everything else we listed. But the world isn't generally kind to the famous for very long. So soon enough, the world will start to go through the rubbish bags of the famous. It will comment negatively on their appearance. It will pour over their setbacks. It will judge their relationships. It will mock their new movies. Fame makes people more vulnerable, not less, because it throws them open to unlimited judgment. Everyone is wounded by a cruel assessment of their character or merit, but the famous have an added challenge in store. Their assessments will come in from legions of people who would never dare to say to their faces what they can now express from the safety of the newspaper or office screen. We know from our own lives that a nasty remark can take a day or two to process. Okay, so I just love this article. I love how much they were able to kind of pinpoint the serious issue here, right? You have these people who were wounded as children, likely, who maybe were forced to be young stars, like Jeanette McCurdy is a perfect example of that. The
Yeah.
author of the book, she was in the show iCarly. She's the author of the book I'm Glad That My Mother Died, and she has highlighted in her book, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm planning to. She's highlighted just how much abuse went on within her family because of her mom needing her to get these roles in order to provide for the family, and how her mom encouraged her to struggle with eating disorders and things like that. Not, I'm wording it weird because I can't say certain things with YouTube, but essentially her mom kept her very skinny in order to ensure that she would get certain roles, and it was just incredibly unhealthy. Okay, and let's see here. Oops, okay. Back to the stream.
You're
Okay.
down to the part. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Social media hasn't helped. It made it far easier than ever before to be famous, and therefore, by necessity, far easier to be hated. A minor celebrity now can regularly face all the vitriol previously accorded only to Hollywood stars. Psychologically, the famous are, of course, the very last people on earth to be well equipped to deal with what they are going through. After all, they only became famous because they were wounded, because they had thin skin, because they were, in some respects, a bit ill. And now, far from compensating them adequately for their disease, fame aggravates it exponentially. Strangers will voice their negative opinions in detail, unable or simply unwilling to imagine that famous person bled far more quickly than anyone else. To sum it up, fame really just means you get noticed a great deal, not that you get understood, appreciated, or loved. The rest of the article pretty much goes on to say that the problem is that we need to focus on being kinder to everyone, and being more loving and appreciative to everyone. And I would take it a step further and say that additionally, a big part of this too is teaching people not to rely on other people for validation. Because when you're wounded as a child, you don't know how to validate yourself. You don't know how to love and appreciate yourself. You don't know how to feel understood. And so you will find unhealthy outlets for that. And social media is the perfect example of that. Because if you feel shitty about yourself, you can go and get all these views and all these clicks that are going to hit you with all this dopamine and make you feel really good about yourself. But it's only putting a band aid on your self worth. It's not actually fixing it. And additionally, because it's not actually fixing it, it's causing you to become addicted to it. That you need that in order to feel okay, that you need more and more of it in order to feel the same amount of okay that it made you feel before. Parker, tell me your thoughts.
Yeah. You can kind of tell online when some people are trying to prove something. And I think it's in the amount of responses that they'll give. So I've watched like a bunch of videos talking about drama that's on social media, or people know each other, things that are just going crazy, and people always respond to these hate comments. And when they do, things just get worse and worse and worse. And I just think, like, what are they trying to prove? Well, they're trying to prove that they're a good person to everybody else. Like, they're not doing it just out of pure desire or love for what they're doing. Some of it might be like, there's probably some of that in there, but like when it comes down to it, some people you can just tell are doing it because they're wanting to be recognized for something.
They're wanting to be seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Go ahead.
like the Amanda Bynes example, like part of me wants to sit here and be like, what the hell is wrong with these people that have fame? Like, what? Why are they getting into drugs? Why are they? But it's like, wait a second. No, this makes sense. Think about the amount of pressure you are under when you are at the eyes of everyone in the country, that anyone can Google your name and hear about some crazy mess up you had, some bad movie you started. You know what I mean? Imagine that pressure. Like, a lot of us can't even handle it if a friend says they don't want to hang out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we will like get offended at something like that. And so imagine the pressure that they're under, and imagine that they already don't have a good self-worth. Like, it almost
Well,
makes sense.
it's probably an avalanche. Like, if I took a crazy drug and I went a little crazy and I walked, naked around town, I would end up in jail, right? Should. And then maybe they'd take me to psychiatric hold. There might be an article written about me, like a local newspaper, and then that'd be it. Like, Yahoo News is what popped up when I typed in Amanda Bynes. It was the first thing I type in Amanda Bynes. I don't see She's the Man. That's not the first thing that popped up. The first thing that popped up was Amanda Bynes released from hospital 3 weeks after being placed on psychiatric hold.
Oh my God.
Like, it's probably like you're already a little damaged, and then it never leaves you, and you will always be held. Amanda Bynes is probably going to be stuck with that forever, and I hope this isn't adding to that. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with Amanda? Really, what I'm saying is, man, that's tough, and I hope she can recover from that. Like, I genuinely hope people treat her nicely, and I guess anyone that makes mistakes, but. I might rip into some other people that we talk about today.
Like they can never get away from it, right?
That's true.
They can never get away from it. Like if you had run around streaking like she had, you could just move towns and a lot of people would never know. But her, it's like you can't escape that,
No.
And that is so hard. And I'm not saying like, oh, I feel bad for her because she did this thing. Like, but what I'm saying is I feel bad for the amount of pressure and eyes that someone who has had fame from very young, so is probably very mentally ill. I feel for her in that sense. And I think to myself, I say this, I'll say it a million times. I think the number one problem with the entire world is that people don't have healthy coping techniques. I think healthy coping techniques are basically a superpower. If you have good ways of coping with your struggles, you can get through anything. These kinds of people, they don't have that. What they have is a very damaged self-worth and a lot of money. And those are not a good combination, right? Those are not a good combination. For someone who has a very damaged self-worth, who doesn't have good self-mastery skills, right? Because it's easy for us to say like, oh yeah, if I had all that money, I wouldn't waste it like they do. Well, you don't have that money, so we don't know that, right? But what I'm saying is bad self-esteem, no good healthy coping techniques, and crazy amounts of money. That is just an equation for a disaster.
I would also say like crazy amounts of money, like really quick. Like if you work a really long time, like you can retire and you'll be fine. You can have crazy amounts of money. My grandma still sends me, $50 for my birthday and for Christmas. Like that's awesome. Sorry, Morgan. Grandma loves me.
What the
hell? But like staying on topic, like she's not going crazy. She has money. Money isn't going to corrupt you, but I think getting instant money, like a ton of it when you didn't have to work so much for it. Now, yes, it is work to be an actor. It is work but like working a 9 to 5 daily in construction or at fast food, like you're going to really value that money, especially when it's coming in slower. But when you're an actor, you go in, yes, it's a lot of work, but it is a big payoff that you get really quick. And that's kind of scary.
I think that's a really good point. Like you get all those people that win the lottery and they just blow it all because they just can't manage it. They don't know how. There's a bunch of YouTube videos about that. It's actually very fascinating, psychologically speaking.
Well, and also think about all the dopamine that you would get if you were like an actor and like you had a big break, like Amanda Bynes and She's the Man. I'm pretty sure that was the movie that like, whoa, this girl, she's an actor, and this movie was hilarious. Channing Tatum too, he was in it. I just liked him a lot in that movie. But like,
did you like him shirtless? Is that what you liked about it?
Oh gosh, he is very, very good at keeping up with his body, and I hope it's not because he feels like he needs to. That'd be a little sad, but maybe he does.
Right.
I don't know. Right. He probably, and that's also that if he started gaining weight, the world would rip into him.
That's true. Okay, that's a good point. I've heard that bodybuilders are some of the most insecure people you would ever meet. And it's interesting because you can take good care of your body from a place of love and respect. But that doesn't always happen. It's the same thing with social media, right? You can have a social media account that is famous and that you do it out of passion and love and excitement. But you can also do it out of this need, this to fill this hungry void for love and attention. And you can just, like you said earlier, you can tell the difference between the YouTubers that do it for one reason versus the other. Nick Ocado, perfect example. Do you still have that picture up?
Yeah, it's up.
Nick Ocado. So you might be familiar with him. He does, what is it called?
Mukbangs.
Mukbangs. I called it mukbangs earlier in Parker's life. He does mukbangs, which is videos of watching people eat just like in an enormous amount of trash. When he started on YouTube, this was him on the left. He was skinny. He was eating vegan. He was doing videos about that, but of course they weren't going viral. But when he started doing videos of eating like 18 cheeseburgers, then he started going viral, and that virality, you know, kind of sucked him into oblivion. I actually linked below. After School did a really in-depth video about kind of the fall of Nikocado, and it was incredible. And it was all about audience capture and how you get that dopamine hit and then you want to do more of whatever your audience liked you doing. And it can cause you to actually become brainwashed by your audience, right? And to just be so addicted to the views and the likes that you erode yourself away as a person and become a caricature of what you think your audience wants.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so sad because you can just tell, like, he was so thin, maybe like almost unhealthily thin. Like, it would have been good for him to gain a little bit of weight, but he has gone so beyond that. And yet the vast amount of money that he gained quickly, the popularity that he gained, it probably didn't matter. But at the same time, he also gets a ton of hate. He gets probably so many hate comments. Look at that fat whale, or, you know, people would say terrible things. I'm not saying that's how he is or who he is, but like, I would also think that has definitely something to play on his mental state and how he feels about himself. Oh, everyone sees me as a fat pig, then why am I going to change? You know,
well,
like,
not only that,
what do I have to gain from that? Because they're always going to look at me this way.
Well, not only that, but not only do you have this negative reinforcement, but you have the positive reinforcement too, where it's like, that's what's making your money. You being this disgusting person eating all this food is what's making your money. So I have sympathy for him, because in a way, he's a victim of this social media, the way that it can suck you into oblivion with the likes and the clicks. And again, I don't like using the word victim, because you got to take responsibility for your life. If you don't take responsibility for it, no one else will, right? But I will say that I don't want to hate on him and be like, what is he doing? It's like, I get it. I get how someone with really low self-esteem could fall for this. And people are falling for it left and right. It's insane. Okay, so let me see if I had anything else here before we move on. So for me, really quick before we move on to showing you some cool clips we found, disgusting clips we found. For me, what's made all the difference is working on my own fears, my own wounding around feeling important and feeling loved and feeling appreciated. Those are all things that can come from within. It's not easy to learn to love yourself, right? But you can't expect everyone else to love you and fill those wounds that are within you, because it's just going to cause resentment, because they're never going to be able to fill it enough to satisfy you long term, right? You have to look at yourself and say and figure out what you like about yourself. And if there's nothing you like about yourself, then you got to change things so that you can like yourself. Cognitive behavioral therapy helped me a lot with that. I hope to do a video about that soon. It's a great, easy technique that you can just do at home if you're struggling with self-worth or other issues. So one thing I want to point out too is that I do think that not everybody wants to be famous, and not everybody who wants to be famous is doing it in an unhealthy way. But I think that it's just understanding that there's a difference between going after fame because you need it versus going after fame because you want it. And if you feel like you need it, then you need to reevaluate. Why do I feel like I need this? Why do I feel like I can't live without this? And you need to reevaluate that, because it's not going to fulfill you in the way that you think that it will. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Nice. Okay, so next up, me and Parker have gathered for you some of the most horrific things I've ever seen people do online for views. Okay, so what we're looking at,
and then we're gonna do one of them.
No. Let's do the milk carton challenge, or what's it?
Yeah, the milk box challenge.
Oh God. Okay. So what I want to point out here is that, again, you've got these people who have very, very damaged self-worth, right? Falling into this trap of that addiction to the views. And it causes them to have to do more and more and more to get more views, right? And the crazy thing about the internet is that there's so many wild things out there that you have to do something more wild than the most wild thing that's already out there. And this is what ends up causing people to literally die.
I
And
would
I'm not
say
saying
like
the word literally die in the way that young people say literally when they actually mean figuratively. I mean
and
literally.
but I also just want to like add something in here that like I think it's a lack of creativity that causes some of this issue. Like you have some, I don't know, like someone's like, man, I want to be famous and I can't think of anything to do, but I have a bunch of milk boxes, like, or, that's something that's unique about me. Like they can't find an actual way to like sustainably support, which is why I talk about like so many people get famous like really quick. Like I was like, oh, I should comment more on videos because apparently I'm good at this. No, I've commented on tons of videos. Only one of them got a ton of publicity because I don't know, was the first one to say it. I'm sure other people thought it. But yeah, like I just also think like when you're just jumping on the bandwagon of, oh, I could do something like this, and but you're not really taking the creativity and making it your own. It can cause a lot of problems. Now that being said, it can cause problems even not doing that. If you just come up with yeah, we'll probably get into some of these because we'll probably see examples of both.
I just wanted to shout out to Freely Ashley. Thank you for your comment. Freely Ashley has an awesome political commentary channel, YouTube, TikTok. She's incredible. Go check her out. And she actually did a video with me. She graced me with her amazing presence, and you can check that out also. Okay, so let's get into some of these wild things. Okay, so first, there was a couple I couldn't find, but I wanted to just give these examples before we get into the clips we have. I couldn't find this one, but I've seen a clip of this YouTuber that they'll do fake giveaways in order to get views. And you might have seen this one, Parker. There was a guy that pretended to give an iPhone. Well, he didn't pretend. He gave an iPhone to like this young girl, and she was with her mom. And then he cuts the video and says, okay, give it back. And someone else caught it. Someone else caught this on video and posted it and just ruined this guy's reputation. He tried to take back the iPhone that he gave her. And the mom was like, no, don't give it back. Don't give it back. So he's trying to take it out of her hands. This thing that he pretended to give her just for views. And he's trying to take it out of her hands. And she's like, no, no, no. And so then he's like, I'll give you $70 if you give it back to me. Like, holy cow. Like, I could not live with myself if I was that person. Like, to have that level of integrity just shattered. But here's the thing is it doesn't start like that. If you had asked that guy, probably, I'd like to think, if you'd asked that guy before he ever had a YouTube channel, hey, do you think it's wrong to like fake a giveaway? He'd probably be like, yeah, right. But it just this intensity builds and builds and builds, and it's just like you lose yourself. You lose yourself in searching for that fame and searching for that clout and trying to earn that money, and it's just sickening.
He probably needed that phone so he could do another part of the video. He could only afford one phone, so he's like, well, might as well use the same phone to give away 4 times.
Oh my god. At first I was thinking like, what if it was just like that iPhone box, right? But then like, why would you offer her $70? It was terrible. There's a lot you can look. There's videos that have compilations of people's getting caught and doing free giveaways just for the views. And it's just so sickening. Okay, so I've also seen online people lie about being abused. I've seen them lie about medical conditions. And that's just all of that is horrifying.
Darman made a video about a YouTuber exposed for fake giveaways. Just putting that out there if anyone wants to look that up.
Oh my god, wait, are you kidding me right now?
I'm not. I just looked it up.
I was like, wait a second, who's Darman? Darman! Oh my god, you did not just recommend Darman on my channel. You piece of crap. Darman is a scam. If you don't know who that is, don't give him more views, guys. You're just gonna trust me. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Okay, what's the someone reviews his videos. What's August the Duck reviews his videos. Hilarious, really funny YouTuber. If you want to look at Darman, look at August the Duck. Don't actually look at Darman. Don't give him more views. He's a scammer. Okay, so I've seen people do really cruel pranks, and we're actually going to show you guys some, but I've seen some specifically where they're doing it on family members, and you can see that that family member is just so hurt and so upset and so angry because they're getting pranked over and over and over again for this person's
They
TikTok
even
or
say
this
it.
person's YouTube channel. And it's horrifying. Like, you are destroying your family relationships for these views. But again, it's just so enticing, and they are not they're not weighing the cost of how serious what they're doing is. Okay, so here's the first one I want to show here. Oh, let's see, how do I add it? Okay, so you sent me this one.
Yes. So this, you might have to skip around, or I don't know how to make sure that this doesn't get, demonetized or flagged or anything like that. But
Mhm.
to give you a background, this guy, he's a prankster. And he likes pranking people, and by pranking people, like, he just bothers them for a reaction until something happens. Well, he was bothering this guy at the mall, and he got shot because he kept bothering the guy. So I don't know if there's part of it where they're just like, the guy's asking him to leave him alone, and like, the guy doesn't leave him alone, and then he gets shot, and it's like, man, that sucks. He shouldn't have gotten shot, but he was harassing the guy. And a girl even says that she was being harassed by this YouTuber even before that. So I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, she mentions in it, and I won't play this one just because it's easier to summarize. She mentioned, so in this video, he was pretending to be a security guard and scaring her and saying that this guy was following her, but it was just a friend of his that was, they're pranking her.
Mhm.
And he was saying, "Oh, this guy's following you. I'm gonna protect you, whatever." Just like really freaking this girl out, And yeah, the worst part about the story is not only did he aggravate this guy to the point of shooting him, that this guy he was trying to prank shot him, but he says, "I'm gonna keep doing it
He's like, I can't wait to
because
get back at it.
this is my passion.
My passion is
My passion
annoying
is
and
harassing people and making them feel unsafe." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You are not well, sir.
your
Like, you are."
passion is just getting views. And when he got shot, he's like, oh man, this is gonna make me so famous. This is worth it. Like, that's probably the mindset he's gonna have
That
after
might be
this.
the mindset he has. I'm not even
He's gonna
kidding.
get the
Like,
dopamine shot, after this happens, when he sees how many views he's getting, how many people are looking at
even
this.
more.
Oh
Oh,
my goodness, it's
God,
gonna skyrocket now.
that makes me
And
so
and a
sick.
lot of them, it's probably, he's infamous. He's not famous, he's infamous because it was stupid. But he's still gonna get the views. He's still gonna get money. He's still gonna get something from this, right? And he's gonna get that dopamine. He's gonna say, oh, and then when people start leaving, he's gonna go, I gotta do something like this again. And
Seriously.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's scary. Okay, so this is another prankster that puts these buckets on people's heads. And apparently this is another challenge that's gone viral
Yeah,
online.
it's just a bunch of
Horrible.
different people. It's not even one specific person. Like, all these
Yeah,
are
but
different
one
people.
one of them ends up putting a bucket on a girl that has a medical condition. Here, we'll hear her
Yeah.
talk.
Condition. Lana Clay Monahan says she was
Oh, sorry. Hold on. The volume's speed is weird.
cured a serious heart condition. Lana Clay Monahan says she was terrified.
I immediately freaked out and started screaming, "Help, get it off of me."
The mom of 8-month-old twins says she went into shock.
I was disturbed to see a group of individuals laughing and filming me.
Into 37, a seizure at Target.
She fainted, hit her head, and was rushed to the ER. Police obtained surveillance footage.
They do go into a baby section aisle. It does go off camera, but we are able to see all 4 individuals go into that aisle with the bucket. Several seconds later, they came running out of that aisle with no bucket.
Yeah, you could probably pause there.
Anyway, yeah.
She is a mom going into the baby aisle alone, and these guys are like, what would be really funny is we're gonna put a bucket over her head. And you probably think, oh, that's harmless, but you don't know the person at all. You don't know if that's harmless. You don't know what you're doing to them. She had a seizure, fell over, hit her head. Like, she's in the hospital. I'm pretty sure she had cancer before this. Like, she had some underlying medical condition that was just super terrible for the situation. And it's like, they just did it because they wanted to, be edgy and get views, and they're laughing, but they're terrorizing this girl. Like, and I can't imagine being alone, going to Target or Walmart, like getting groceries, getting food for my baby, and feeling safe after that moment. That's ridiculous.
It's terrifying. I just think there's no excuse for that, and I think that it's so wrong because you're not only are you doing this horrible thing to this person and really scaring them, you are making money off of it. And this is why, like, I haven't thought much about this, but I'm like, maybe YouTube needs to change their regulations as far as prank videos go because they're getting so out of hand. But I don't know. I haven't thought a whole lot about this. Couple comments. We need more of this. Hopefully more of this, meaning more talking about this topic and not more mean pranks. And Jared said, just because you don't like changing lives doesn't mean we can't support Dar Binks. He's referencing Darman. That's hilarious. Okay, Darman makes just these very, very low quality skits, and they're just the cheesiest.
They're actually like, okay, they're low budget, but like also high quality. Like the camera is like super high quality.
Camera's great.
which
The
is
acting
weird.
and writing is just
It's
terrible. Anyway, but he's always like, we're not just making videos, we're changing lives. And I'm like, no, you're not, because your videos are ridiculous. It's always like some girl has a boyfriend that cheats on her, and then he ends up homeless.
And then they fart on him.
And then they fart him. Yes.
Well, they broke up because he farted.
That is the level of comedic skill. And it's like, we are changing lives. Boyfriends will never cheat on their girlfriends ever again because they don't want to be homeless and get farted on.
Well, they'll never break up with their wife because she farted. Farting's
Oh my
normal.
god. Oh yes, that one. Okay, if Nikocado has taught us anything, it's that infamous is better than non-famous. Oh yeah, that's perfectly said. That is perfectly said. And he said about the topic. Yes.
Perfect.
So
Yes.
glad. So glad we're
on the same page.
We're all on the same page here. Good. Okay, let me get the next one here.
I'm excited. They just get better.
Oh, no, they don't. Okay, let's see. Share screen. Thanks for your patience. Okay. Let's see.
Is this the article or is this the
I'm gonna save the article for after the clips.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay, sorry. Yeah, I didn't see this one.
yeah, I didn't send it to you. So this girl is known as Hungry Fat Chick. That's what she calls herself. And she posts those mukbang, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Mukbang videos. And just her eating a crazy amount. And that's her primary income, is her eating. And obviously, it is not boding well for her. She's been having some serious health complications as a result. Now, listen to this video that she posted talking about, I don't know, just kind of how things are tanking for her.
The things I should do. I don't know, I'm coming to a point in my life where I'm just at a loss. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to eat. With the issues that I'm having, eating healthy, it seems so difficult, difficult because I can, but I can't at the same time. So I just don't know what to do. I'm here alone. I'm just alone here. Just watching the clock. Tick tock, tick tock. This is the clip that made me realize that
And I was sharing that from Sam at Every Size's channel, so that's why she's there. Okay, so this clip just shattered me because clearly this is a woman who has been making these videos to earn that money, to get that clout, and it has destroyed her. It's destroyed her health. It's destroyed her mental ability to, it's just so sad watching her devolve like this, and to realize that she feels like there's no way out. She's like, I can eat healthy, but I can't. Like, she is so trapped in this mindset of eating unhealthy because it has been the thing that has given her money and fame. And it's just like, that is a whole nother level of difficulty breaking out of, as opposed to like the regular people in the world that already struggle with eating,
Yeah, could you imagine just like making money because you smoke like cigarettes? like in front of everyone, like it makes you famous and like, but you have to smoke a bunch of cigarettes at once. Like it's just like nobody would be down for that. No one would want you to do that to yourself. Like I'm pretty sure more than I don't know. I think we're over 50% of the US don't smoke cigarettes anymore because we just understand how terrible it is for you. I could be completely wrong on that, but I did hear that a while ago. And like when it comes to obesity though, we just take it like to a totally different extent. Like I don't mind if someone's I don't mind if someone's overweight. Like it doesn't bother me, but what bothers me is when someone is just so unhealthy and like in her situation, she's stuck there. And like
Oh, sorry. I
kick me out of here.
tried to remove the video and I removed you. Okay,
No, it's
sorry.
all
Say
good.
that again. She's stuck there.
But yeah, she's just stuck there. There's no easy way for her out of there. It just makes me think of like I remember in middle school they showed us this Juice Fast documentary where this guy just went juicing for a very long time and he lost a lot of weight actually because he wasn't eating too much. He was just drinking, I don't know, juiced vegetables, and he met a trucker along the way. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, feel free to like put the comment down because I'd love to find it again. But the trucker was like, he was overweight and he's like, I have so many health issues and I don't have time to work out. I'm literally just always in this truck. And the guy just looks at him and says, you have to quit your job, man. Like, this is bad. And it's like, how do you ask someone just to leave their job? But he did it. Like he literally left his job. He said, fine, left his job. He cared more about his health. And that's something that I don't think the majority of people would be able to do. Like we all think, oh no, I'm too like mentally stable to just leave my job. But it's like, maybe that's the mentally stable thing to do. Maybe it's smarter to suffer working at fast food for a little bit more like time, make a little bit less money, but health, like physically you'd be healthier and like more able to pursue what would be better for you.
It's about having your priorities straight, right?
Yeah.
About prioritizing your health and your well-being above the fame. And that's the problem is when you have a severely damaged self-worth, that is going to take precedence even over your health, right? And especially for people who are very mentally ill. Yeah, that's a really great example. Okay, here's the next one. Okay, so this clip, this woman went on TikTok and posted about her husband having an affair, and I'm going to play a little bit of this.
Picture, look at us and how happy we are. Our life is great. I thought my life was great. I thought everything was fine. We had some issues last year because he's an idiot. Was not infidelity. He's just stupid because he's a man.
So
I can say it is true. It was just the fact that he's a man that he was stupid.
This is becoming far more common on TikTok right now. People getting on there and like bitching about their spouse or crying or like sharing these very, very intimate personal details to get views. Like, can you imagine your husband cheats on you and your first thought is like, I could get views.
Wait until the ladies on TikTok find out about this. They're gonna have a heyday.
I feel for her that she's hurting, right? She's hurting, and it's sad to me that she feels like the best place she can get love and validation is on TikTok. But this takes a bad turn, and let me show you why. She later posts a follow-up where she's begging people. Here, watch
Start by saying thank you for all of the love and support and the feminine rage. I'm angry and you're angry for me, and I get it because I'm in this too. But please, my life has been torn upside down. We are a one-income household. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yep.
Please don't threaten, and please don't try to call my husband's place of work. You're just going to. You're just gonna get worse.
Wow.
It's absolutely brutal. People online in trying to help this very famous TikToker then try to get her husband fired in order to help her. And it's like, oh my God. And if you hadn't posted something so personal like that, then this wouldn't happen, right? But it's just scary. It's scary to me when people feel like it's it, it's appropriate to post these kinds of things. It's not healthy. It's not appropriate. If you're trying to save your marriage, it's wrong to want to put this out there, and you know what I mean? Like to drag
like,
your husband through that.
would
He-
you
like he was in the wrong for cheating, right? But still, why drag your marriage through all of this attention when it's already suffering? All of that attention is just going to make it so much harder.
in that video, and we didn't see it right there, and she says that her husband asked her to keep that other video up. And it's like, okay, you can also tell, like, he probably feels bad about the situation if he's like, no, maybe I deserve a little bit of it, like, just leave it up. Either that, or I'm also thinking, if you take it down, what is that going to make it look like? I abused you to taking it down? Like, there is really no winning in this situation. Once it's up there, it's up there. But the thing that I think about is, like, if I had issues in my relationship, would I plaster my frustration on a billboard, like near my house, like for everyone to see?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, would I do that? No, absolutely not, because that'd be embarrassing. That'd be embarrassing not just for me, but for her, and that would be like, how do you come back from that? Not only would my spouse be known as the person that cheated on me, but I would be known for the person that put up the billboard about her cheating. But like,
Yes, yeah. Therefore,
it
making you both look
online,
bad. Yeah.
more people would see it than ever than me putting on a billboard. I would argue putting on a billboard is more healthy than putting it on social media, because you're only going to get the amount of people driving through to see it,
I agree.
But social media is
Hopefully a lot
everywhere.
of them don't know you. Yeah. So it's scary to me that people are normalizing this kind of behavior. That it's becoming more and more normal for people to get online and to share these really personal, intimate details, and to get that attention, to get that love, and they're trying to get support, right? They're trying to get love, attention, and support. That's not the right place to get it. And if that's the only place you're getting it, you need to work on your support system, right? You need to work on building a healthy support system, because that is not normal. Did you have something you wanted to show?
No, I was just I was looking at the comments, actually.
No, that's fine. You
Lupus,
do that.
yeah, My Fabulous Life with Lupus said, I think the Juice movie was called Mean Green Juice, and I was just looking that up, but I don't see it. But I'll probably just look at it another time and see if I can find it.
Rev Bones said people want to get rich without doing real work.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Well, and I
Eating
would
is
say
eating
that-
is eating is not that difficult. Actually, overeating, I would say, is easier than not overeating. Just especially being in America. So you're just like, I don't know.
true.
I don't want to say you're
True.
putting life on easy mode, because it's not going to be on easy mode for very long once you start having all the health complications. But goodness, that's quite the work you're doing.
Absolutely. And doing YouTube channels is not always easy, but but a lot of these things, it's not real work. It's just people trying to garner attention.
Well, it's crazy to think of how many people can actually make a living doing things that actually aren't beneficial to society today. It just becomes so easy because everything is through ads. Advertising is bigger than it's ever been, and it's a little crazy.
I think that the problem with like younger generations right now is that they need to realize that there are still problems in the world that need to be solved, like really serious problems, because they are so caught up in social media and in fame and in political issues that they're not actually out there trying to focus on careers that will like drive society forward. You know what I mean? Like in working in ways that are going to help contribute to society. I think that we need that desire. It's innate with us. We need that desire to work towards something, to have some kind of responsibility. And I think that it's important for people to realize like there's still a lot of the problems in this world that need to be solved, and you could be someone that could help solve those problems. And that's a really inspiring thing when you can approach it in the right way and not in putting buckets on people's heads.
Yeah, I do wonder like what the actual statistics of like people that, when you ask like 8-year-olds like what they want to be when they grow up, back in the day, I don't know what day, but people used to say, astronaut, president, like high, not easy jobs. And now a lot of people just say famous. But I don't know if everyone really does say that, or if it's just some people and we like to make this so large. I wonder if we make this issue bigger than it actually is, because I don't know how many of the youth are literally thinking they're going to be famous one day, or if that's just.
So it's actually a real thing. Gen Z, the number one job that they say that they want to have is being an influencer.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I forget where I heard that. So probably maybe you could double check that while I show.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah.
Because that's what I was drawing on, but hopefully that's validatable. Okay, so this one Parker sent to me horrified me so much that I couldn't watch the entire thing. So I'm just going to show you clips of it. So there's this family that runs a YouTube channel, and I don't know, I didn't look into at all if they were active still or not on their channel, but they did a prank on their kid. They
were for a while.
Yeah.
I'll just say, yeah, they were for a while. They got a ton of hate, especially after this video. But like, this isn't the only video that's like questionable in ethics. This one's probably the most outrageous. But
oh, it's bad.
Yeah, it is a long story. But yeah, go ahead.
The mom gets this ink, and now it's this ink. It looks black when you spill it, but then it dries clear, and it's for pranks, right? And so they decide to prank their son by scaring the living shit out of him. Check this out.
You did. I swear to God, I didn't do that. Jody, call over your carpet. I didn't do that. I don't have anything to call her. Why did you do that?
Absolutely horrifying.
You both did this. No, stop. You're both writing 1,000 sentences. Well, you're not. You.
Look at these kids. They're crying. They are traumatized.
There it is. Oh my God, there's a. There it is. You did this. You did this.
Okay, and like just think about like the fact that they're all responding like so quick to be like upset. It's like this probably happens when they're not recording.
Like that kind of yelling, like to be doing that during a prank says a lot about this family. That with that,
like if they're yelling
I'm
like that for
horrified.
a prank, what do they do when it's not a prank? Yeah,
I'm horrified. Watch this last little bit.
I'll do it. Do the outro.
Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, want to see more videos like this one, leave a comment down in the section below.
Holy shit! I just can't. Like,
he's so brainwashed.
I can't. It's just I'm horrified. I'm horrified. It scares me so much that parents want the fame so bad that they're willing to subject their kids to these terrible situations. I've got one last clip here before we talk about some other stuff. This one went really viral last year. You probably saw it. Hold on a second here. Okay. So this was a family vlog, and this woman was vlogging with her son about I think their dog was dying or had died. And check this out.
To not feel sad. I'm going to let you guys go. I need to go be there for Christian. I just wanted to give you an update because so many of you turned on the countdown reminders for my new video today and you wanted to see our big news.
Okay, so I'm going to fast forward here just a little bit more. She's like, pray for us. Love you guys. And
closer. Closer. Put your head right here. Closer. Closer down. Put your head down here. Act like you're crying really quick.
I am crying.
Go like this.
No, Mom, I'm actually seriously
crying. No, I know, but go like this
thumbnail.
for the video. Go like this. Put one hand up.
So she's trying to take a thumbnail, and this accidentally got uploaded. She accidentally uploaded this. She accidentally didn't cut it out of the video, and she got so much hate, which I'm glad. Like I'm not happy that this went down the way that it did, but I'm glad that she got hate enough to see just how messed up this was.
No, go like this. Put your hand like this. But let them see your mouth. Let them see your mouth.
Just
It's
absolutely
oh my
horrifying.
gosh, it's so
like-
sad.
It is so sad. And so I really wanted to show all of these examples. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Your kid is crying because your dog is dying or sick or something. Something has happened. Your kid is crying and you're like, oh, this is good. Let me start recording and talk about how terrible this is. And then like, oh man, and she fakes cries. Like she makes her face like she's crying. And she wasn't even crying either. Like, so, you know, she was totally faking it. The kid is just trying to go along and please his mother. Like he's really trying.
Yeah, it's just it's so sad. I don't know, just perfect examples of the internet just going too far.
Yeah. And it's also sad to think like the kid had no idea like that was even wrong, like what she was trying to say.
That
like,
is
he was a
scary.
little
That
frustrated,
is
but he's also
scary.
like, no, this is probably normal for people that make videos, right? And I hope not, but who knows? It definitely shouldn't be, should not be normal.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to show now, Parker, the article you sent me.
Oh,
And this is kind of where things takes to the even more extreme.
yeah. The article's great.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of highlight a couple things in it. So this article is talking about people who have actually died or become very injured or ill as a result of doing something in order to try to get views. The first person that I highlight here is this young man who did some kind of stunt in his truck that ended up getting him ejected out of the truck and crushed by it. And it was just so sad. And it said here, he died at 18 while doing this dangerous stunt for his TikTok audience. Hall passed away with more than 2.5 million likes to his credit. And it's like, oh my God, like that's obviously not worth it, you know, and just how sad that is.
The next one is well, I wanted to go to the next
Go
one
ahead.
just right there. It says a TikToker, she died just because she took Benadryl and it was a challenge. It was like, oh, the Benadryl challenge. You know, you take Benadryl and you hallucinate and you record yourself. That's so goofy. She was found dead in the bathroom.
That is so horrifying.
Oh my goodness. And the blackout challenge, I actually remember hearing about the blackout challenge
where they
whenever it
hold
was
their
happening.
breath.
They hold their breath, and then this person was pronounced brain dead after 19 days on life support because of it. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Oh man, I love this quote down here. It says the intoxication a person feels from the combination of dopamine and adrenaline that's released when their posts go viral is unbelievable. Neurologically, that high is just like a drug. It's so sad. This milk carton challenge. I think this was like a viral TikTok thing where they were like trying to see how many carts they could stand on top of or something like that. Look at this guy. Do you see his back here?
Yes, and he literally above it, he says, I do it again. I just wear padding next time.
How insane. And look down here. It was painful, but it was worth it. It's not often people go viral as I did. It's not as often that people go viral as I did. And I'm thanks for the attention it brought to my music and social accounts. Okay, I want to know.
Try to find him. I was trying to find him just so I could be like, okay, you got like an extra 1,000 followers. Like, is that worth it? Like, that's what I wanted to see. But I could not figure out who he was.
Would it have been worth it if the video flopped? Would it have been worth it if no one saw it? Would it have been worth it? Because if it's not worth it, if no one sees it, then it absolutely should not be worth it, even if it goes viral.
I wonder, you know, like you have, when I was little, like, and I would be with my friends and we would goof off, like sometimes we would just do dumb things. And I remember saying like, if I was going to get hurt doing a stunt, but it made everyone else laugh, I would do it. Like, I was okay with that. I was okay with a certain amount of physical pain and intolerance. And I think everyone is up to a little point, you know, Like, I think everyone would be okay with a pie to the face if it made everyone happy. But maybe that's crossing the line. Maybe it'd be like a little bit of whipped cream or something. You know, I don't know. Everyone's line's a little different, but I'm sure everyone to an extent. I would be like, if I like twisted my ankle or like got hit in my groin and it was funny to everyone, like I would be okay with it as long as like I was okay, you know, in the very end. It seemed like he was okay. That's probably the stance he took. I don't know that I stand on that stance anymore. And just the fact that he says, I'd do it again is like dude, your body does not want you to do that again. It is so bruised up. That is terrible.
Well, and not to mention like how lucky he was that he didn't break his neck, right? That
Oh,
it could
yeah.
have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse. Okay, so for this next section, I want to briefly just discuss a couple highlights from iGen. So Jean M. Twenge, an amazing psychologist, she has written several books studying specifically different decades, generations of people. I read her book of several months ago, iGen, which is specifically about Gen Z. She calls it iGen because it's kind of like the first generation of they grew up with cell phones from a very young age, hence iGen. Interestingly enough, in her research, what she's looking at is all of these surveys that were done, and it's thousands and thousands of surveys done around the country where people are talking about that how much time they spend doing things, how much what their happiness is like, what their depression is like, what their anxiety is like, how much homework they're doing, you know, what they're like, all of these different factors. It includes race and it includes gender and it like all these things. And what was really interesting is that what she noticed was across sexes, across races, the more your cell phone use went up, the more depression and anxiety you had. And the findings were very, very interesting. So I highly recommend the book. It's really good. One thing that she talked about that I think is worth mentioning is that 2 hours a day or less doesn't seem to have a negative impact, which I think is important to note. So if you're on your phone more than 2 hours a day, according to the research, you are more likely to experience more depression and more anxiety as a result.
So we're gonna cut the live stream right here because this is my 2-hour limit. I'm just joking.
In 1 hour.
I know. I already had an hour on my phone.
Oh, I get it. Oh my god! I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I'm
Oh,
sure.
that was
I'm sure
good. Yeah,
most
sorry,
people watching
guys.
this has already had an
I
hour as
definitely
well.
maxed out my that's
Yeah.
really funny. That was a good one. Sorry, that joke. You totally lost me. I thought you actually had to go.
No. I was
Okay,
joking.
so it's interesting because so in the book she talks about how people think, okay, is it the technology itself is using it somehow causing depression, right? Is it causing anxiety? And in some ways it might be, especially for young girls. They think you're seeing all these, you know, pretty women online and you know, the beauty standards are difficult to measure up to. So there's things that plays in. But one thing she pointed out is that she thinks that it's less to do with what they're looking at and more to do with what they're not spending their time doing because they're on their phone all the time. They're not spending their time connecting with people in real life. They're not spending their time being active. They're not spending their time accomplishing things. They're not spending their time getting out of the house more. And so she thinks that a lot of the anxiety and depression is directly not because of the phone and what it's doing to you, but what it's keeping you from doing.
Love that.
Yeah, you know,
There's
I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
People are never bored anymore. Never. They never have to be bored because you can pull up your phone and you can scroll for eternity. And then some. Like you can scroll for forever. And here's another thing that I think really compiles onto the depression and anxiety as well is that if you have something that's in your pocket all the time that provides you a lot of dopamine, you never have to think about how you're feeling, right? If you feel upset even just a little bit, just like, boom, got my phone, go play Candy Crush, I'm gonna feel all better, right? Just immediately, you know? And so I think that that can trick our brains temporarily, but I don't think it can trick our brains long term. And I think that that's why that anxiety and depression can kind of compile,
It's a
because
vice.
you're using your phone as a distraction instead of thinking and feeling what you need to think and feel, right? Because feelings don't just go away. It doesn't matter how far you run away from them. You can think about something difficult that happened to you 10 years ago, and if you've been avoiding it and you've never gotten closure around it, when you think about it, it's going to make you just as upset as when it actually happened.
Mhm.
So time doesn't heal all wounds. Actually thinking and processing through things is what heals wounds.
With time. Right.
Time too,
But-
right? Time plays a
Well,
factor.
it's working through it with the time that you have. Yeah.
It's a combination, but it's not, just time for, especially for really hard things, isn't going to be enough. And especially if it was something that was done to you, because there's this I don't feel safe in the world. Well, interestingly enough, what's that book? Unfuck Your Brain was by Faith Harper. She says that we don't like to think about the bad things that happen to us
Mhm.
because it makes us realize how little we control. So we don't like to think about the past. We don't like to think about bad things or difficult things that happen because it makes us realize how very little control we really have in our lives. Because if this really bad thing happened to me, that means really bad things can happen to me all the time, and it feels safer to just pretend that that's not the case.
Yeah. I also wonder if if the depression and anxiety has also raised up even more, because like we've had phones before, but like I think social media is just so much larger than it used to be. And like we're not only not doing things, but we're watching people do things. And we're just watching people do all these fun, crazy, cool things. And we're like, wow. And I'm getting dopamine from watching it. Like, wow, this is so entertaining.
Yeah,
and I am doing nothing. And like that has got to be really strange somewhere in here, or maybe in my heart. Like something's just not lining up correctly, that I'm getting dopamine from watching these other people do these amazing things. And I'm just getting dopamine off of the idea of doing it. But I wouldn't do it. Like what kind
Watching
of life
someone
are we
do a
living?
kickflip, watching someone do a perfect kickflip might give you more dopamine than going and failing a kickflip, right?
True.
And so then you have this like activation energy that you need a lot of, because your phone can give you more dopamine than most activities can. And
Mhm.
because of that, you actually have to fight against the phone in order to do anything that's actually meaningful in your life. And that's wild. But I'll say naturally though, because I was someone who very addicted to my phone for most of my life. I will say that the more that I learn to cope and process my feelings, the less I actually even need to pry myself away from it, because I actually want to be in the present moment. I actually have things I want to do. I have people I want to hang out with, because I'm not trying so hard to distract myself from pain. Right? Because
Yeah.
that, and so that's kind of been cool, because I thought, okay, I'm going to therapy. I'm going to figure this stuff out, and then at some point I really need to cut ties with this addiction to my phone. It's like it actually just kind of naturally got a lot better as I got a lot better. I didn't want it anymore.
love
I didn't
that.
want to be on it all the time, and that was cool. That was a big sign of healing for me. Okay,
You know,
so I want,
me
oh,
and
go ahead.
yeah, unless you had something super important to hop to. Me and my girlfriend, like whenever we have, because like we'll hang out a lot, right? And you can say, oh yeah, we're having dates, but like we set like actual dates, like, hey, this is a date, this is what we're gonna go do. And during our dates, it's actually like an unspoken thing, but neither of us use our phone during that time. The only time is if like we're in the car and we're looking up a map or playing music, but like for both of us, right? But we're never scrolling through media. We're not checking our emails. We're not checking our text messages unless we get an emergency call. Like we're just invested in each other. And it's sad now that I think about it, like that it has to be a date for us to do that. Like with my friends, my attention is just not really always there, especially with like my siblings. Like, my siblings here, like I don't care. I'm just gonna go over in my corner and eat instead of talking with them because I can eat while I'm watching 48
I know you're
hours.
talking about Blake and not me, so I'm not offended.
No, I'm talking about Ray actually. But
I'm just kidding. I'm just
because
kidding.
Ray was literally here today, and I, instead of sitting with her and talking to her, she was scrolling through Instagram, and I was watching a murder documentary series. And yeah, that was just yeah. But like, do I regret it? Yeah, probably. Now that I'm like reflecting on my actions, I shouldn't have spent so much time invested in something that I don't even remember half of what I watched.
Right. And that's one thing to keep in mind too, is that we're not often gonna regret connecting with someone, but we're often gonna regret spending too much time on our phone. And that's just worth thinking about. But also be patient with yourself, because if you are addicted to your phone, it's not so easy to just throw it out, right? You got to have healthy coping techniques before
It's
you feel like
uncomfortable.
you can. Yeah. So if you're addicted to it, be compassionate with yourself, learn some healthy coping techniques, and it will help you to not be so addicted to it. Okay, so I want to get into some tips, and then we will if Parker, if you have to drop off, that's fine. I am going to open it to live callers. We'll have just like 5, maybe 8 minutes to just, if a couple people want to come on and share any thoughts, you can get ready for that. So how to cope with, social media, and especially if you're trying to like grow a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel or anything like that. I just compiled some tips based on what has helped me, and Parker, you can share any tips that you have as well. First is prioritize your life on the outside first. And when I say on the outside, I mean offline, right? Take good care of yourself mentally, physically, work on your relationship with your family, make friends, pursue hobbies, get clear about what you want out of life, set your priorities in order correctly, right? Because if you don't specify in which order things need to be done, important things get neglected. So this is all prioritize your life on the outside first. If you don't have that in order, it's not good to be spending a ton of time trying to get famous online, because that fame, what's that fame going to get you if you don't have any friends? Like, what's that fame going to get you if you don't have a family, if you don't have hobbies? Like, it's not going to fulfill you entirely. And if it is fulfilling you, if it's the only thing that's fulfilling you, that's a problem, right? It's kind of like, okay, I actually have this as one of my other. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. Okay, my next tip. Oh, did you want to say anything about that, Parker?
No, keep going.
My next tip is have a clear sense of right and wrong and clear expectations for yourself. This is so important. What kind of person do I want to be? Why? Those mukbang people are wasting away on YouTube, right? And they don't have a clear sense of right and wrong and where their line is. And because they don't know where their line is, they are just trashing their bodies because they don't have a line. They just keep thinking, how can I get more views on the next video? They're not thinking, where's the line I don't want to cross, right? And so it's really important to know what that is. You can't depend on your audience. Along with this, you can't depend on your audience to be able to tell you what's right and what's wrong. Because you can look up some YouTubers that you severely disagree with, and you can read all these comments. You can even look up YouTubers that everyone would disagree with. And you can see comments of people who agree with that person. And what that has to remind you is that you cannot necessarily trust the good comments or the bad comments that come into your channel. You have to figure out what kind of person you want to be, how you want to show up in the world, what level of integrity you want to have. And then you have to hold yourself to that, because you can't trust other people to set that line for you. One other tip I have is, if you're making content or making posts, think about what is best for you with regards to content creation, including amount and including topic, right? Don't be talking about things that are going to severely hurt your mental health, right? Part of the reason why I changed the direction of my channel was because I knew that I couldn't talk about Mormonism forever without really hurting myself, because it would it would make me, it wouldn't feel right to me to keep talking about something that my heart wasn't in. And it would mentally, it would be really exhausting to keep reliving something that I really just want to close the book on. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So also, how often can I post? And this is important because you see some of these people who are YouTubers, they are chronically online and they are workaholics and they do nothing but post videos, and that's not what's best for them, right? If you're posting content, you need to be thinking, how can this be sustainable? How can this be something that's adding to my life and not totally absorbing my entire life?
Mhm.
My next tip is don't let it be the only source of your self-worth, identity, and purpose. If you think to yourself, I'm nothing without my online audience, that's not healthy, right? That's not ideal. In that Spider-Man movie, Parker will tell me which one. He's like, Iron Man makes the crazy amazing suit for the Tom Holland Peter Parker, and he makes him this amazing suit, and then he takes it away, and Tom Holland is freaking out,
Homecoming.
Peter Parker, and he's like, I'm nothing without this suit, right? And Iron Man says to him, if you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it, right? And that goes with online audiences. That goes with having a YouTube channel or TikTok. If you feel like you're nothing without that, that's not healthy.
It's a
That's
crutch.
not what you should be aiming for, right? Because that can go away. That can go away in an instant. Online fame can turn to online
Infamy.
infamy very quickly, right? You have no idea. And you don't know, like TikTok could be destroyed somehow. You just don't know.
Become
That could
illegal.
go away. Right. That could go away. And so you don't want your self-worth placed on something that could go away. Absolutely not. Not healthy.
Mhm.
What you want your self-worth placed on is a good sense of love and appreciation and confidence in yourself. And you want, a lot of different healthy pieces of a pie that make you up. You want hobbies, you want friends, you want, you know what I mean? You want all these different things, and your online presence should just be a piece of that pie, not the whole thing. Limit social media time. I've been very successful with this because I'm very disciplined, I would say. I only let myself check comments and check views and things like that on certain days of the week. And when I post, I don't check it all day long. I'm only allowed to check it once. If I'm posting every day that week, I'm only allowed to check it once. I say allowed. That's my rules for myself, right? Otherwise, I'm on my phone all day long. Like, that's insane. I'm not going to do that. It's not healthy.
It's been 5 minutes. Like, who said something? And you're like back at it again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I usually only let myself check it for like 15 minutes to just post the new short. And I record in batches, right? I record several back to back so that way I'm not doing it all week. It's a very small portion of my life. And yet I can still post every day, without it taking up so much time. And yeah, so those were my tips with that. Parker, did you have any thoughts on that?
No, I completely agree that, like, if you're going to take this whole being famous and social media thing seriously, it's not an immoral thing. There's nothing immoral about being famous. I think there's immorality that can come with it, but that desire itself is not wrong. And if you're going to do it, make sure that you take care of yourself while you're doing it. Like, if it's a job, make sure that you have a work-life balance. And that's a weird thing to say, because I don't know that I necessarily believe there's a work-life balance. If you're at work, you're at work, and if you're at home, you're at home. Like, it should be one or the other. And a lot of people don't distinguish one from the other. A lot of people like to blend it and be like, oh, I am balanced in it, when in reality you're just like, you live in a very messy life. And so I think it's really smart, Morgan, your advice, and everyone's probably a little different. If someone's doing it full time, instead of as a side passion, they might have to, be on social media for, 8-9 hours a day. But
That's
after
true.
that,
That's true.
yeah, but I would say after that,
Unlimited, yeah, however
man,
long you limit
after
it,
that,
limit it outside of that. Yeah.
do not go back into it after that time, unless there's an emergency comes up, but don't let that emergency, come creeping in through your front door. It's going to probably mess up with a lot of your relationships. And I would think, and I would hope that a lot of, famous YouTubers or I don't know, people online would hopefully agree with that.
Yeah, I would think so. So I did post the StreamYard link in the comments if anyone wants to hop on and say anything before we sign off on this awesome live. If you want to, you can show your camera, you can just show your microphone. If no one shows up, we'll just wrap up with our thoughts here. I think ultimately I am wondering myself how I'm going to navigate my kids and smartphones as they grow up because and Twangy talks about this in her book iGen and she covers it well because she says like ideally, right, you wouldn't let them have a smartphone or social media until they're much older than what the norm is because right now the norm is like 10-year-olds 12-year-olds. She was saying if you can wait till they're actually 18 or at least 16 or 17 before having social media. And she said that when they get it, if you can put it on a computer and not on their phone. I thought that was great advice.
Oh yeah.
For me, I'm thinking to myself because the catch-22 of it is that's where all their friends are. And you don't want them to be, an outcast with their friends and not have that social media to be able to connect with them. But at the same time, the amount of time that young people are spending on their phones is really scary,
Yeah.
and the amount of mental health issues young people are having as a result of being on their phones so much is even scarier. And so I think the more that you can try to come up with ways to limit cell phone use for the whole family, that's ideal.
Would you rather be an outcast and potentially happy or depressed with everyone else?
It's true.
It's so true. The amount of anxiety and depression is higher than it's ever been. Yet quality of life is higher than it's ever been. It's a bizarre thing to see.
Isn't that so shocking? Jonathan Haidt, a social psychologist, says that we are in a mental health crisis. And I think most people agree with that because the amounts of anxiety and depression have just absolutely skyrocketed.
Yeah.
But I love that you bring up that point because not only are we in a mental health crisis, but we're in like the best time to live that has ever existed. I mean, the medical community the medicine has never been better before. The death, like the life
we've never had such equality. And I'm not saying everything's equal, but we've never had such equality today. We've never had
as
such
much equality as
opportunity.
we've
never had
absolutely.
such great, like even being extremely overweight, you can live much longer than you could live just being a normal person back in the day. You die around 40 years old. 60 isn't that the cutoff for like retirement? It's usually like 60 years old. That's because you would die at 60 years old. That was the age. And now today, like life expectancy is usually around like 80 something, and it's not uncommon to hear that someone has a grandpa that's 90. It's not very uncommon. It's cool. It's a cool thing to see, but it's also really sad that we've become very depressed with that. And I don't want to blame social media. It's probably not just that. It might be a little bit of diet, a little bit of like what we're doing day to day, but social media has to have a huge role in this because that has been a huge change.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it was the only factor, but it's certainly a huge factor. And it's cool in Twangy's book. She shows, I mean, the minute that that this generation was getting cell phones was when all of the mental health stuff spiked.
Yeah.
And again, I think she brings up really well in the book was that it's likely because of what the cell phone stopped them from doing. Because when kids were bored, they go get with their friends and they'd have these crazy times and they'd be more risky and they'd be more excited. But
creativity can spur from boredom.
They're never bored, right? When you're never bored, and you know what was sad to me? I remember having this kind of realization of that I had this realization I don't spend very much time thinking. And I remember like it kind of hit me that I used to think way more as a kid than I ever spent time thinking as an adult, because as a kid I didn't have a smartphone until I was probably
Everyone does the
15 or
thinking
16.
for us.
And we let it happen. And so I pride myself now in probably thinking too much, right? But I probably spin in things a little bit too much, but I think that's better than not thinking enough. And so sometimes when I'm driving, instead of listening to a podcast, I just try to let myself just think and just process and just, let those thoughts flow instead of just constantly bombarding myself with
Sometimes
stimulus.
it's so nice just to be like, whoa, it's silent. Like, and sometimes I'll even try to get myself to like, can I have no thoughts right now? And like just kind of see what happens. Because if my brain goes towards something, it's like, oh well, maybe this is the thing that I was needing to focus on. But I did see a video, and I just kept thinking about this. I hadn't had the chance to say it, but like there was a philosopher, and I'm gonna totally butcher the way he said it, but there was two different philosophers. One was like saying, hey, you should never censor ideas and opinions, right? We shouldn't have to censor that. Because like, we're stopping the possibility of growth, and that's a stance that he took. And there was another person who said the day that we don't need to censor information is going to be the worst day ever. And the reason he said it wasn't because all ideas are bad, but because there's so much information out there that there will be no point in looking up anything. It's just like this idea that if you have everything, it means nothing. If you have at your fingertips, the access to every single thing that you could ever know, ever, it would not be interesting. It just wouldn't. You could say, oh man, I want to know like what size the moon is. Oh, well, somebody knows and it's online and you could just look it up. Like you don't actually look it up because you don't actually care. And the moment you do, you're probably just going to forget about it 5 seconds after. When I was
you're saying like it's so readily available that you take it for granted.
Yeah. And there would be no point in censoring anything because we would never even think to look it up because yeah, it's there, of course. When I was in Mexico, this is just my own personal experience, I guess, to kind of corroborate what I was saying is when I was speaking Spanish, these kids would just be infatuated with the fact that I was from America, and they were like, whoa, you're from America. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they'd say, you speak English? And I'm like, yep. And they'd be like, say dog in English. And then I would say dog, and they go, whoa, dog. And they would like repeat it. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then I'd say, why'd you want to know? And he goes, I don't know. And then I would ask him, oh, okay, well, how do you say dog in English? And they'd go, I don't know. And it would happen every time. I actually don't remember because I would ask them every single time because I thought it was interesting that they want to know a specific word in English. And so I would always ask them after I told them the word. I would give them like 5 seconds, just 5 seconds, not a very long time. And I would ask them to repeat the word again to me. And they never did. I never one time found a kid that could do it. And I think it's just because I handed it to them on a silver platter. Oh, this is how you say it. And they're like, whoa, that's so cool. So how do you say the word? And I think information might be a little bit like that today too. Like we're watching so much media that like none of it is really that important anymore. And it begs the question, like when you go online and you read an article about like Amanda Bynes, I don't know, maybe something more relevant, like a train crashed in your city. Like, does that change anything that you were going to do that day?
I see what you're saying. Like we can drown in all of this information that's just not all that useful.
What's relevant? Yeah.
Yeah.
When everything's irrelevant, like why even look anything up?
Yeah. Well, I think that's why it's important to have goals and passions in life that are driving you to learn. Because you know what's sad is that public school kind of made us all hate learning. And
Yeah.
learning when it's something that you love is so fun.
Yes.
Like, I have to pry myself away from the computer when I'm studying for a video that I'm really excited about. I have to pry myself away to go make dinner because I'm just so excited to be learning about whatever it is. And, and I try to make content about things that I'm excited about in that way. And, but yeah, it's sad how much, I don't know, how much stuff on the internet is just, I don't know, it's just kind of garbage, and we're just kind of soaking in it because it feels good to be distracted,
Yeah.
to not think about our problems or not think about our feelings or whatever, so.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. Like, I ask myself this often. What, like, I'll just constantly have YouTube on, like playing like documentaries in the background when I'm working on. I work from home, and like as I'm working on things, like I ask myself, what do I actually remember from what I watched? And like I try to get myself to recall, and sometimes it's not easy. And if it's not easy, I start to like wonder, like, why did I pay any attention to having it on if like it was just for background noise? Why not just like put on some music if I really need something?
Right,
Something
right.
that isn't so. I just wonder if I'm like numbing my brain a bit, and that's something that I definitely need to work on, and I'm sure a lot of
Oh, I
other
see,
people
like, kinda
probably do too.
desensitizing yourself to all this stimulus or something.
Yeah, because I'm constantly, paying attention to it, that afterwards, like, I don't even recall what it was.
Well, and I
Like.
think that there's I don't
Mhm.
know if this is the same thing, but I've heard of dopamine stacking, where it's like you're doing a bunch of dopamine activities at once, and it makes it so that you can't do a singular activity on its own anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably part of it. Yeah, definitely.
So I try really hard now to, if I'm watching something, to just watch it and not like play on my phone at the same time. I don't do it perfectly, but it's weird how much I lost the ability for a while there when I was really addicted to my phone, how much I lost the ability to actually just sit down and watch a movie.
That
Like
is
I like
funny.
I felt like I had to be on my phone or like had to be fidgeting with something like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so weird. But it's just like it's the way our brain is wired, and our our animal brains are not used to being thrust into the high amounts of totally easily accessible dopamine, right?
Mhm.
You can get it so easily, like that it's just it makes doing anything of value just seem like way too much of a chore when it's like, okay, practicing piano will give me a little bit of dopamine, but not as much as my phone will give me. And so you have this like battle you're fighting, and that's why they say like you can kind of dopamine train yourself by like
Yeah,
reward yourself with playing with your phone after doing piano.
that's true. Well, and also at the end of the day, like today, I went instead of just like sitting at home after, because I was productive. I went to the gym, and then I came back and I set up a hammock just indoors because I wanted to, and like, I had this productive conversation, like without, maybe this counts as being on the computer. I don't know, but I feel like I'm having a productive conversation, and then afterwards, I'm going to be spending time with my girlfriend. Like, I will feel good about that at the end of the
You'll
day.
feel good when your
And
pillow hit
yeah, when I hit
yeah.
my pillow, because I was productive. But if I had sat down and just went through the infinite scroll, and honestly, if I hit my pillow and then go through the infinite scroll, I'll probably just ruin the dopamine that I created for having such a productive day by finishing off on such a fake high.
I know what you mean. It almost like, yeah, sometimes I'll have the urge to like go to my phone after something awesome just happened, and then I'll be like, "Wait a second, why would I want to like diminish this moment
Exactly.
by grabbing my phone and looking at memes?" Like it just feels like disrespectful.
We are disrespectful. That's what we are.
Oh man, yeah. Anyway, well, thank you guys all for watching this video. Thanks for being here. If you if you want to come back again, then do it. If not, have a good life. And Parker, thanks for
Please.
being a guest. Don't
Of
go find
course.
Parker because he's not famous, so he doesn't want to be famous. So
Yeah, I don't mind.
go find
I don't
him.
mind to be famous, but I do like talking, so that's always fun.
It's a win-win, right? Okay, I love you, bro, and thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.